optimize a default fixed size controllers, right? So instead of providing as input how many nodes we should have, so the controller based algorithm should automatically determine how best to add nodes to the current controller, right? So these are going to be the two main technical contributions which we are going to focus on. All right. So here is a bullet point summary of our contributions. So in fact, I mean, relations of POMDB with continuous state MDPs is very well known, but instead in this work we actually show that there are actually very close connections between discrete state MDPs, not just continuous, with that of optimizing POMDB controllers, right? So it's almost identical to optimizing controllers is very closely related to optimizing discrete state MDPs. And in particular, what we show is that the standard, like the textbook dual linear program that exists for MDPs, it can actually be converted into a dual mixed integer program for optimizing finite state controllers. So that's a very, nice analogy of what exists in MDPs. It can actually be transported to POMDPs. And some of the main benefits of this dual MIP include the fact that, when we have mixed integer program, we can get quality bounds, right? We may not get always the optimal solutions, but we know how far the current solution is from the optimal one. And given enough time, this MIP-based solvers, they can actually avoid local optima. So that is beneficial in contrast to non-linear programming-based solvers, where getting stuck in a local optima is kind of a norm. There are not many interesting ways to escape from local optima in non-linear programming-based formulations. However, we note that just transforming the controller optimization problems to a mixed integer programming is not going to be very helpful. The reason is that mixed integer programs are also NP hard, right? So there is no magic bullet here. So we need to exploit additional structure to make mixed integer programming more scalable. And we do so by proposing something called a history-based controller structure, right? So history-based controller are basically a special type of controllers which have more structure, and that structure subsequently can be exploited that can be exploited for efficiently optimizing or efficiently solving MIPS. In addition, this history-based controllers are also highly interpretable, right? So we can actually make sense of what a controller node represents, what kind of aspects of history a controller node summarizes. And in addition, as I said in the previous slide, that we don't want to manually specify what should be the size of controller to optimize. So we should automatically figure out that this is the best controller that works for this problem. So we also actually provide an entropy-based node addition techniques that can actually automatically grow the controller. All right. So as I said in the previous slide, we want to connect controller optimization with that of dual linear program for MDPs. So this is how a dual linear program for MDPs looks like. I'm sure most of you would be familiar with it because it's actually textbook material. So on the top, you can see just a single 2-time slice DBN for an MDP. So it just says that the action A, it depends upon the current state S, and the next state S prime, it depends upon the last action taken as well as the last state S. All right. So that's basically the graphical representation of an MDP. And what we do is that we write a linear program over X variables, right? So these X variables are called occupancy measures or occupancy distributions. And intuitively, X of SA, it simply means the total discounted amount of time, the world state is X, world state is S, and action A is taken. All right. So that's the meaning of these X variables. So intuitively speaking, the objective function is nothing but the total reward of the policy, and constraints are are analogous to flow conservations, right? So if you see this linear program, so these X variables are analogous to policy flow, right? So on the right hand side of this equation, there is the total incoming flow for a state J. So the total incoming flow should be equal to the total outgoing flow from the state J. So that's all what this linear program is saying. So it's kind of standard thing. All right, so here is the main observation. So how can we exploit the dual MDP program to form a dual program to optimize finite state controllers? All right, so that is going to be like the core of, or like the core idea of our work. So I mean, intuitively, the first thing we should do is that we should write some kind of an MDP associated with an POMDP. And fortunately, it has been done, right? So in the literature, there is something called cross-product MDPs that exist for a POMDP model. And then the reason it is called cross product is that because it is defined over the factored state. So there is one state component for the controller state as well as one state component for the world state. All right. So once we have this once we have this cross product MDP representation, we can actually just simply write the dual program for this MDP. But actually this is not enough. There are several challenges when we want to adopt a dual program defined over this cross product MDPs. So the first challenge is that if we simply write the dual linear program for this cross product MDP, the resulting policy is not going to be valid in a POMDP domain, right? The reason is that when we are writing the LP for an MDP, the underlying assumption is that the underlying state is observable, but this is not the case for POMDPs, right? So we need to find additional constraints that make sure that the resulting policy out of this dual linear program for cross-product MDPs is actually valid for POMDPs. So as I'm going to also describe in the next slide, that another challenge associated with this program is that we have actually exponential number of variables in the number of observations, right? So if we blindly write the dual linear program for the CP-MDPs, it's actually going to be really huge. So how do we actually intelligently minimize the number of constraints so that everything remains polynomial is another technical challenge that we address in our work. All right, so this is going to be the most tricky slide of this talk. So here I'm going to give you a flavor of how to basically go from the DBN for an MDP or the dual linear program for an MDP. So that's shown below. The figure below is just the DBN for an MDP, and the figure on the top is the analogous DBN for a cross-product MDP, right? So this dual linear program is going to be defined on the figure on the topmost figure, right? So the first thing is that we actually transform the original state space of an MDP to the cross-product state space of a CP-MDP. So that is straightforward. The second step is actually tricky. So if you recall, when we are writing, when we are converting this controller optimization to an MDP, our actions there are two types of action. The first action is that what should be an action taken for a given controller node, right? So that action corresponds to model action, and that is being modeled by using the variable A in the CP-MDP DBN. But there is actually more. There are actually more things to encode in this DBN. The reason is that, so in this DBN, even controller transition function, it actually is unknown, right? We don't know what should be the next node given the current node and an observation received yi. So what we have to do is that we have to actually create k additional nodes if we have k observations in the system, and that makes the whole action space exponential in the number of observations, and that is of course a problem. But fortunately, we show in the work that we can actually exploit several independencies which are present in the DBN of this CP-MDP, and by properly marginalizing out variables or disjoint distributions, we can actually achieve a polynomial sized program. All right, so here is what it looks like. So I'm not going to describe it very quickly. So it's basically the first constraint is nothing but the flow conservation. So that constraint is analogous to what kind of flow constraints we have in the MDP. And then we have some constraints which encode variable consistency. So that is for the handling exponential number of variables. And the third set of constraints, which include one of the mixed integer constraint, it encodes the valid POMDP policy, right? So in the paper, we have all these details, why these constraints works. All right, so in fact, I'm going to, in the interest of time, not talk about history-based controller, but the main idea is that if we blindly optimize a default controller, it's actually not very scalable. So what we do is that we actually incorporate some kind of structure into a standard controller, and that structure is basically observation based. So what we do is that we divide the whole controller into different compartments, and each compartment corresponds to a single observation, right? So based on this history-based controller, we also provide an entropy-based heuristic that can actually incrementally grow the controller. All right, quickly moving on to the results. So there are basically two previous branch and bound solvers which exist in the literature. So we compare with the most recent isomorph free branch and bound controllers to optimize POMDPs. And as an approximate benchmark, we use nonlinear programming based approximation. And to find out how do mixed integer programming based solver compares with point based approaches, We also provide solution quality comparisons with HSVI. All right, so in the figure below, you can see we are optimizing just the reactive controller. So this is a fixed size reactive controller. On the x-axis, we have different domains. On the y-axis, we have normalized solution quality. Right, so solution quality of 1 means that so basically we say that whatever HSVI gets, it is assigned a solution quality of 1 and rest is scaled appropriately. So you can see that from this figure that dual MIP is actually able to provide or almost near optimal solutions to most of these problems. All right, and as per the runtime, we can see that, so runtime is in log scale, so y-axis is in log scale, so you can see that dual MIP MIP, which is our approach, is significantly faster than the isomorph BNB approach on several instances. And I would also like to highlight that some of these benchmarks are not small. For example, underwater navigation and baseball, these are quite large. I mean, the state space is huge, even the number of observations is huge. But even for these problems, dual MIP can actually find provably optimal reactive controllers. All right, in many settings, reactive control is not enough, which we should expect. So our approach can also incrementally add node to the default controller and re-optimize it. So here are the results on the rest of the 5 domains. So again, y-axis denotes the solution quality. 1 is given to HSVI and the rest are scaled appropriately. So here also you can see that for several of these problems, so red curve denotes the dual MIP. So we achieve close to optimal or close to whatever HSVI achieves, but much better than isomorphic branch and bound search. All right, so I'm going to skip this slide, but what is in this slide is it shows the final size of the controllers which our dual MIP approach finds. So the observation is that the final controllers are highly interpretable and they are very compact. Right? So it's going to be very useful in domains where human interpretability of controller is required. All right, final slide. So as a summary, so we established very close connections between discrete state MDPs and POMDPs. And what we showed is that we converted a dual MDP linear programming formulations to its corresponding dual mixed integer program. And some of the benefits include we can actually now get quality bounds for optimizing controllers, as well as given sufficient time, we can avoid local optima. And we also developed other techniques that have more structure, that can provide more structures for this dual mixed integer program. Right, with that I would conclude. Thank you for listening.